It's there! Holy moly, this one's going to go big.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a whole new fruit machine emulator to look at and play. There are words that I honestly never thought I'd be saying again, but it is true. Fruit machine emulation has gone into the digital age because we now have on full public release an emulator for the Barcrest T7 technology. If you're not familiar with it, it's that fella there, that cab there. It's cracking on a bit now. First came out, I believe, 2008 or so, and had a pretty long life out in the arcades of the UK. We now have an emulator for it. So rather than waffle, let's just get into it and take a look. This is the first release. This is the V1.0 release, and it has support at this point in time for 9 games. Why don't we start with Rainbow Riches Pick and Mix? There we are, loaded in. The first thing that you have to do is choose which bonuses you want. So I'm going to go for those 3. We'll have Road to Riches, Pots of Gold, free spins. Off we go. So here we are. This is now running in the emulator. You have this little control panel off to the side here. I'm going to put a £20 note in. There we are. We've got £20 of credits. You see there, we can change our stake just like on the real thing. And when I say just like on the real thing, remember, this is emulation. In the same way that MVFME emulates old fruit machines, it's not a simulation. We're looking at the same thing here. This is running the original ROMs as they were. Now, let's just kick it off whilst I waffle. Let's get some gameplay going on. So, in the same way that fruit machines used ROM chips, physical ROM chips in them, the sort of payload, the data payload on these video slots is far bigger. We're talking hundreds of megabytes instead of, in the case of older fruit machines, you were talking, you know, kilobytes, maybe 128 kilobytes, something like that. Running to the bigger fruit machine ROMs at the end of the era, which had pretty big sound ROMs in them. But you're usually only talking there maybe 2, 3, 4 megabytes, something like that. These video cabs ran to hundreds of megabytes, so they ran off sort of PC... Well, that didn't go very well. Let's just carry on. They ran off sort of PC-style storage. If you're not aware, well, that was not a great 20 quid, was it? Let's put another £20 in. Fucking hell. These were essentially, if you don't know, these T7 cabinets, they were basically commodity PC parts, for the most part, stuffed into a cabinet. So you would have essentially like a PC motherboard in there. Oh, we got a gamble. Shall we have a pie gamble for 50 quid? Oh, I lost it. Obviously, we can take on gambles here that we wouldn't necessarily be comfortable doing out in the real world. So yeah, what you had in a T7... Oh, it's another gamble there. I've got the gamble on £5 or more, so it's potentially going to come up quite often. I might have to turn that off because I'm going to be gambling and waffling at the same time. But yeah, you kind of had like a PC motherboard, a PC CPU in there, like a low-end PC graphics card. Couple of displays, obviously. And the sort of custom bit was they would have T7, as I understand it, would have an MPU 5 or an MPU 6. Well, that's 40 quid gone already. Let's go for 60. They would have an MPU 5, or the later ones had an MPU 6 controller in them, and you had an encryption module thing in there, which was called the HASP encryption module. So that the idea being, of course, that you couldn't just take these things. You know, you couldn't just get the image of the game. Oh, there, we've won that one. Go on, let's just go for a big one. No. You couldn't just take, like, the image of the game off the storage in there and load it on a bloody normal PC and run it. But for the most part, what you found in these cabinets, because obviously Barcrest aren't going to invent the entire technology stack for themselves. So you've got a lot of essentially commodity PC parts in there, PC screens and cabling and interconnects and all the rest of it. And then the bit that turns it into like a sort of fruit machine, if you will, is that MPU 506 control model, the HASP encryption module. Throw all of that stuff together with the game code itself, and you then have yourself... Well, fuck, is that 80 quid already? You then have, essentially, you have a digital fruit machine. So that is what we have emulated here now. I'll go into some of the detail around this. Oh, there we got a bonus. So was that 80 quid in? God, there. Because obviously here we've got a £500, £2 to go. We'll have a look at some of the other games, because the emulator authors have deliberately released this with a range of different games to play. So we've got Cat C's in there, we've got Cat B, and I'll show you on the screen when we get in there. So there's a decent choice of games to play, and what you can see here is that the screens are stacked like they were on the real cab. This has been quite the challenge. That there's been some detail given. I'll go through this over at Desert. Is that going to stop now? Yeah, that felt like a stop, didn't it, for a 3 scatters. 30 quid is arguably not too bad for 3 scatters. So these gambles are ruinous, aren't they? Come on. Oh! I mean, obviously we can do hyper style gambling here, because we're playing with pretend money rather than real money. So yeah, there's been a lot of technical challenges that have had to been overcome to get to the release here. This has been on the radar in the preview scale for a little while, or in the preview space rather, over at Desert Island Fruits for a little while. A little bit like Arcade Simulator. I just thought what I'll do is, and rather than show you something that you can't actually play yet, I've done the same as I did with Arcade Simulator, if you remember that, and waited until we've got the public release that everyone can play. I wasn't a tester for this or anything like that, so I got access to this at the same time as everyone else. We've got 2 emulator authors. They've got a small circle of testers, and then once it was deemed good enough to push out to public release, this is the V1.0 release that we're looking at now. It's only been out for 3 days as I record this, so I haven't necessarily spent quite as long playing around with this as I would like to at this point. There's a couple of the games that I'll show you that I'm not familiar with at all, but I figured that it was worth getting the information out there for you so that you all know now that this is available. You can download this now and play it. So I'll show you the website where you can download the emulator itself from. There is no restrictions or anything like that on who can have this. That this is a public release of the emulator that has now been opened up for everyone to play. So I've got first sight of this for me at the same time as everyone else who wasn't part of the sort of development circle, as it were. It was going to, I believe it was scheduled for release about maybe sort of a week ago, 10 days ago, but then once they pushed out a build to the testers, there were all kinds of problems with it, and they had to pull it back in and do a bit of a rewrite on quite a bit of stuff on there. So just to be clear, that this is not a trivial undertaking to take the sort of physical hardware and those, what they're called is B-packs. The technical name for ROMs on these things is B-packs. To get from a T7 cabinet and those B-pack, those encrypted files as well, because all this shit is encrypted, to get that into something that just runs on your PC like this, let me be clear, that is a huge technical undertaking. So huge amount of credit needs to be given here to the emulator authors. Well, that, I mean, okay, I was doing some stupid gambles, but by God, was that 100 or 120 quid? I can afford a £2 spin. And then we'll move on. Well, what I'll do here is I'll just give you a quick whiz through the games that are available, and then we will have a look at some of the sort of information from Desert Island. Oh, that there, see there, that is a little issue That's one of the things. Now, just to be clear, it doesn't stop it where you just do ignore and it goes back to the menu. Need to stress here, and the emulator authors have stressed this as well, this is the V1.0 release. It should be considered a work in progress. This is, in a way, the way to think of it here is what we're looking at here is the worst this will ever be. This is only going to get better from here on out. This is a great V1.0 release. There are some gremlins in there, and there are some difficulties, some little bugs, but fundamentally this is fully playable right out the box with 9 games. But what we're looking at here is the starter for 10, and hopefully this emulator has months, if not years, of happy development and releases ahead of it. This collection of games here, by the way, estimates put it at something in the region of around 400 games were released for the T7. However, each of them requires some work to get it to function in the emulator. It's not just as simple as loading in a new BPAC file and you'll get a new game. Each of them needs some fettling to get them running. So this is what we've started with out of the box. Let's pick a different game. Shall we have a look at Ruby Slippers on a £100 jackpot? This is a Cat C. So here we are, loaded in. This is Ruby Slippers on the £100 jackpot. This is technically a community game, but of course we only have one player, which is me. So let's do the same thing again and put a £20 note in. We can only go up to a £1 play on this because it is a £100 jackpot. And this is a Cat C machine, so let's put £20 on autoplay through that. Oh, that was a nice quick feature. This one can be an absolute bastard, by the way. This one will think nothing of doing 20 dead spins. Oh, community cash. We've got one of the features right there. Well, that was a nice start, wasn't it? Shall we have a look at them in order? Let's have Dorothy and the Yellow Brick Road bonus. The cash pots, by the way, they're almost on reset here, because I've just set myself up on my sort of filming setup downstairs. I was piling away with this last night on my big PC, and it does save the pots. It saves the pots and it saves the credits, so it does have like a RAM file function. So if you build the pots up on one session and then you quit out of the emulator and come back to it later, the pots will still be there. It remembers credits from game to game. So if you come out of Ruby Slippers here with £10 in credits and you go through to Monopoly Big Event or whatever game it may be, you will then go back and your credits will be there. Oh, we're doing okay here. The graphics are quite nice on this, aren't we? Oh, hang on a minute. Where are we going? Come on. This is the thing, of course, because these essentially use like hard drive image files or SSDs storage, because they've got hundreds of megabytes to play with, they can really do some quite nice graphics. Hey, we're doing okay here, aren't we? I have no... Oh, we can see up at the top what the jumps are. So we've got a few more to get to the end, but come on. Oh, there's the Wicked Witch at 55 quid. So that's 55x, because we are on £1 to go here. I think I've got the gamble turned on this as well. We get the big win animation, or mega win animation for that. And then, have I got the gamble turned on? Or is there... Oh, repeat chance. Okay. Win! Oh my god, this is a good start, isn't it? No, I think I'm being a dick. There is no repeat chance on... There's no gamble, sorry, on this one. I'll have another repeat, though. Oh, well, that was a good start, wasn't it? Sorry, I'm being stupid. There is no gamble on this one. You have to forgive me. I'm not as au fait with all these games as I would like to be. I'm just taking the opportunity at the weekend here to get this recorded, because I did want to get a video out for you to let you know that you can play this. So that was a really good start there. This flattered us. When I was just playing around with this last night, you can easily get 20 completely dead spins on this, which is exactly what that's 20 quid down in the time that it takes it to do 20 auto spins. So sometimes you get some little runs on the feature, but it can be quite hard. It does feel a little bit spiky, this one, to me. I've got to say that all these games are kind of new to me. I don't remember seeing, and I don't know why particularly. I'm sure that we could have had them under the legislation that we had here, because we've had the digicabs here forever. But I don't think I've ever seen a T7 cab here on the Isle of Man. It's all been the blueprint cabs, the old Empire cabs, the iPubs we've had as well, but I can't think of there being a T7 over here, and I don't particularly know why. You can see here, by the way, what this will do when it's in a bad mood. Those features, when they pop in, those features are nice, but you can go on a dead patch quite easily, and you'll lose a lot quite quickly. What you can see there, if you look at the pots, by the way, at the top, can you see those pots are slowly filling up, and they will be remembered. They are persistent. So if you want to sort of get involved with these for a decent session and get the pots built up and then quit out, don't worry, your pots will be there when they come back. And what I'll also show you, in fact, let's just... I don't want to get too caught up on one game, but what I'll show you... See there, I've got £90 in credits. We'll exit the game from the control panel there. And then we'll go into another game. And what you will see is that those £90 in credits are preserved. So there we are. Let's have a look at, shall we play? Let's have a look at Cashino. And as I go into Cashino, you will see that I've got 90 quid. So here we are with the game loaded in. Can you see I've got my £90 of credit? So the way to think about this conceptually is that what you're looking at is an emulated T7 cabinet that in this case has those 9 games loaded into it, because these cabinets, and you had to license them for a certain number of games as well. So obviously not all cabs would have all games. They would have cost associations with them. You wouldn't necessarily update cabs with all the new games and that kind of thing. So think about what we're looking at here is an emulated version of that cab with these 9 games loaded into them. There's quite a lot of stuff out of there. There's videos of them on YouTube. There's one video on YouTube, Oooh Aah Dracula. That is one of the games that we've got emulated. You can see Hyper here, by the way. There's a Hyper video, and can you see there on his screen, he has got £1 Cashino loaded in on his T7, which we've got loaded in to the emulator here. So let's just do the same thing. Autoplay on. Let's just kick it off. And there we go. Now we're playing Cashino. We've got the gamble on £5 and up. So let's see how it goes. We'll just... It's that... that was a nice quick feature, wasn't it? This is another one that can be a bit harsh. Well, they can all be a bit harsh, to be honest with you. This one, well, that'll give us a gamble. Well, pie gamble, there you go. It's the pie gamble. So you too can now gamble like Hyper on the pie gambles. We won. Right, I'm going to go. There we are. Oh, let's have a bit of that. Come on, baby. Oh, we fluffed it. I mean, God, this is the kind of thing. Back when I still played in the pub, this is the kind of thing that I would never dare to do, of course. But now you can have pie gambles to your heart's content because there's no real money at stake. But we do have here accurate emulation. So these things are going to behave. That's the big draw, of course, of emulation. The big draw of emulation is that the games are running the same code. So the same ROMs in the case of Fruit Machines, the same B-packs, because these B-packs have been sourced from actual machines and from the stuff that ran in the cabs. We're actually having a pretty good... I haven't had this bonus before. I don't know what this one is going to do. I only had a very quick blast on this one last night. Oh, right, okay, there we go. So we have got a 500 quid in there. Not good. Where's that going? That's going to go whizzing past. Where are you going? 30? 30. Shall we have a pie gamble? Let's go for a nice big pie gamble on 30 quid, shall we? I don't know. Maybe they get better as well if you have like 4 or 5 scatters. Let's have a proper degen pie gamble. Oh, we lost it. We lost it. So yeah, I suspect this is going to be one of the big draws of this emulator. Is we now have a legit UK style pie gamble. Just by the way, show you the help screen here. Can you see 90%? Now, what people were saying over at Desert Island Fruits is that, yep, that was how this one came on this jackpot, was a 90%. They were generally fixed at 90%. So you see there, we've got all the help screens there, but on a £1 play, you only get 90% on this. So the highest percentage you can get is 25 quid. Just dropped in there. We'll go for it. The highest percentage that you can get, I think Oooh Aah Dracula will give you 94% on £2 to go, and it's all the way down from there. So these are absolutely what you will remember from the pubs and the arcades, including the percentages. So you get the idea. We've had a little look at that. I don't want to get too caught up, like I say, on one game. Shall we have a look there? This is Oooh Aah Dracula. Now, this is a B3. Can you see there? We've got little icons that show what category the game is in. So we've got a top trumps there and ruby slippers, a cat C. B4, which is Greece and top trumps. And then we've got B3s for the rest of them, which give us our £500 jackpots. Let's have a look at Oooh Aah Dracula. So here we are on Oooh Aah Dracula. Let's put that onto... I'll just show you the help screen. The help screen, by the way, is slightly bugged on a couple of them, and it doesn't show the correct percentages. This one does. You see there, at £2 to go, we get what feels like a fairly generous 94% these days. But you lose 4% going down to £1, then you lose 2 and 2% respectively. So you end up at 86% on 25p a go. Let's come out of there, and we're on £2 to go. So let's just... Well, we can afford 32 goes. This, again, well, I say this, they can all be harsh. All of these can be pretty harsh. A quick feature, though, that wouldn't go amiss. Like I said, I just want to give you a little quick spin around the games here. The great news is here that you can download this and play it for yourself. It's all free of charge. There's nothing, there's no one trying to make any money out of this as ever. This is for the love of the emulation and for the... Dare I say, I'm going to have a little bit of a spiel about the importance of emulation as well, because I think we really need to touch on that. So, but the great news is here, A, you can play this for yourself, and B, you don't have to get nobbled like you do on the real bloody thing, because, as you know, I called it a day with these bastards last July now, when I will refer to it again, that horrible, horrible kicking in the pub, 300 quid in 24 minutes. So I'd already thrown the towel in with these things, which was a slight shame insofar as games, I actually quite like them. I think they're decent games. I like the graphics and the sound and the themes and the animation and all the rest of it. I just couldn't get my head around doing something that was capable of costing me £300 for 24 minutes of... I mean, that wasn't very entertaining when I lost the 300 quid in 24 minutes. But, of course, when you get a decent run on the features, you get some wins, you get some gambles, they can actually be quite good fun, but they're so ruinously expensive to play. And one of my big complaints as well about them in the pubs here, and you can see the same thing in the emulator here, is that if you say, you know what, I just want to do a little bit of like amusement gambling, that was horrible, wasn't it? Was that 64 quid gone just like that? And therein lies the rub. So if you're prepared to say, you know what, I actually quite like these, I find them quite good fun, but I don't want to risk £300 in 24 minutes, you get absolutely fucked if you dare to reduce the stake. There's always one of the most pernicious things about these that I really hated was that they really kind of pushed you into playing at the top stake. So in this case, if you don't play, I mean, you saw it there on that. I mean, look at that. Was that another fucking 20 quid gone? Look at that. And if you think, you know what, this is too rich for me, I don't want to play £2 to go. Oh no, I pressed the wrong fucking button. Let's just go back in. Sorry, I pressed menu there instead of info. You see there, if you think, you know what, I don't want to play at £2 to go. £1 to go would be better for me. Or even, you know what, 50p a go, I'm comfortable with that. The game says, well, fuck you. We're going to take 6% RTP off you and double the house edge. Because you've got a 6% house edge on £2 to go and a 12% house edge on 50p a go. So a doubling of that, because 6% is already a very, very generous house edge. 12% house edge is ruinous, and that was the thing that really bugged me about these. So this for me is great because I can enjoy playing the games, because I do think these have got something going for them as games. And here now we can enjoy the game without the financial ruination of the bloody things on £2 to go. We've lost, and we can do, because as you know, I hated playing with the gamble in the pub. It just stressed me out, the gamble. So, and we also get the ability here to play them in ways that we wouldn't necessarily have done. And that was another 20 quid gone there, wasn't it? So, I mean, I'll give it another 20, but yeah, this one's pretty spicy. All of these £500 jackpot ones, 500 quid, £2 to go, these can all be very, very spicy. As Hyper, poor old bloody Hyper, found out recently in that video where he got absolutely fucking destroyed in the arcade. So we now have these in a safe environment. We can play them where they don't have the ability to take our pants down and spank our asses in the way that the real thing does in the pub and the arcade. Can we, I mean, we can see this out to fucking, well, at least we got a bit of something off that 20 quid. I mean, we don't necessarily have to see it out to a feature. God, I'll just let this, okay. Well, that was not in a good mood, was it? Now, there's a couple of the games. Oh, see there, we've just got that little crash there. That's on the list already. That's on the, yeah, we're aware of it, something to be fixed going forward. That one there is a weird kind of card game. I couldn't quite work out what was going on to start with. So here we go. I'll just put a tenner in. I'm not oh, I already had £1.50 credit, didn't I? I'm not entirely sure what the bloody deal with this, well, what the deal is as it deals cards. You've got to get a poker hand, but then when you do get a poker hand, you go off into like a secondary game where you can play Find the Lady and stuff.
Player made the straight.
All right, so we'll have a look at this. So now you can play. So you can collect a fiver, but if you find the lady, you go up. And then if you get 30 quid, you can go into the oh, so I've lost it there. But if you get enough to get to £30, you can go into the £500 challenge. I will have to play around with this one a bit more. Obviously, it's a slightly different game structure. And exactly the nuance of how this one works, I'm not...
Yeah.
Oh, we got 3. We'll have one more go at this. So you've got to win quite a few of these. I mean, the odds it's presenting there are pretty good. You've got like a 3 in 4 chance. Let's see if we can have a go at the £500. Oh, see there, now we've got... Oh no, that was a bit unlucky if it was 4 out of 5 chance of getting it right. So I think the only way you're really going to win on this, by as far as I can tell, it looks like in the base game the most you can get is 30 quid. So you're going to have to go off into the £500 challenge to get the big wins. I need to play around with that one some more and kind of familiarise myself with it. We've got Monopoly Big Event. Shall we have a look at that? Here we go, loaded in. Shall we start off with a 20 quid again, and we can go to max play. Let's have a look at the info one on there. Again, same pace structure there. You need £2 to go to get 94%, and it's all the way down from there. Let's give it 10 goes. Oh, go on, first spin feature. I'd settle for that. Oh, because these are random games, you don't have to sort of get them juiced up, so there's no concept of doing autoplay like I have to sometimes, or get them ready to go on the traditional fruit machines. Where the games are random, it does not matter. You can get, so that Ruby Slippers one there, which dropped to fucking 55 quid plus repeat chance right into my lap. The other night, loading it in, it wanted like, oh God, I think I've lost about 60 quid on it before I got a bloody feature. It's got a little mini wilds feature, which is a bit shit as well. So, as ever with random games, you just put your money in and it does what it wants to do. There is some talk around some of the other categories of having some kind of weird semi-compensated nature or something like that. There's lots to investigate with this going forward. Remember, this is the initial release of the emulator with the initial batch of games, and this is our first look at it. So there's going to be, I'm hoping that there's going to be a long future ahead of us here with this emulator. Lots of new games to look at, and hopefully, of course, lots of interesting conversations around them as well. One of the things that's already been mentioned over at Desert Island Fruits, and I'll give you a look at it in a moment, is the Top Trumps game. Apparently the £70 Cat C version of Top Trumps has something on it in the Top Trumps game. It's not just an entirely random press the button and see what you've got that one. So maybe that's something that we can have a look at going forward as well. So we're right at the start of the journey here. This is just the initial look at what we're starting with. Like I say, I'm really, really hoping that there's a lot more to come from the conversations that we've been, because the emulator authors are active and posting over at Desert Island Fruits, and they seem to have a lot of thoughts and ideas about where they want to go going forward. This is just the first, this is saying, here you go folks, here's something to have a go with, but we've got a lot that we want to do moving forward. That was a pretty harsh £20, wasn't it? Oh, there we go, we've just got that ignory thing again. Don't worry about that, it does pop up sometimes. I'll show you this £70 Cat C Top Trumps. Apparently there's something in the Top Trumps game on this one. So in we go. Let's put £20 in again. We'll change it. You can only go up to £1 to go on this one. I'll just show you there. There's no £2 to go. So obviously we're on Cat C here, and we can see at the top it is saying £70 jackpot. There's also no autoplay because it's a Cat C. Shall we hold our top trump? I'll just get us into the top trumps feature. Whatever the thing is, I don't know what it is. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Cat C... Yeah, there you go. That's what I thought. This machine is compensated and may be influenced by previous play. So this is essentially a digital version of a Cat C fruit machine. Your normal fruit machines that you can see on the right hand side there, Cash Exploder, that would also be a Cat C. This is one of the ones that's got the bugged percentage display. Can you see there? It says this machine has a percentage of at least 0%. That's a known little gremlin. There are a few little things that are being ironed out, and I think all the little issues that we have are known about. So this stuff is all going to get better going forward. Like in some of the preview conversation. Oh, here we go. Now this is apparently there's stuff that you can learn on this. I don't know. I mean, don't you just go for the biggest one? But apparently that's not, like if you go for Fear Factory, it'll pull a 95 out of its arse. Yeah, 92. So what? See there? See, some of them, even like the shit numbers, were better than the number on the other side. The suggestion seemed to be that you can learn the cards and learn the patterns, and if you know which ones to pick, it won't diddle you. Someone over at Desert Island Fruits has mentioned that when these were out in the wild, they would go around with like a little crib sheet so that they would know which ones to pick in the feature, and that if you could do that, because this is a compensated machine, there was something that you could do with it. I will investigate that further. I'm sure we've got lots of conversations to have over at Desert Island Fruits about this. So we'll have a chat about it and we'll work it out going forward. So same thing again. So obviously you don't just pick. Like if I pick 91, it'll happily just fuck me with a 94 or whatever. So if I pick, I don't know, let's go for Black Magic. It looks like a shit number. See there, but it was better than the one on the other side. And now imagine if you could do this with every one. There, it worked again there. So see there, if I'd have picked the 90, it would have just gone for 99 on the other side. So, I don't know. I mean, shall I go for 80? And there, it's diddled me, hasn't it? Now, I would have thought here that it would just fuck you, but apparently, like, it just basically cheat, but apparently that's not the case. Did I win anything there? Sorry, I'm very, very unfamiliar with that. I don't appear to have won anything off that feature. Maybe I needed to collect it rather than just keep playing the bloody game. Oh, I pressed, I pressed collect there by accident, but it didn't. You can collect the bank out. Oh, we've got the top trumps feature again. I mean, that is sort of emulated as well. When you collect the bank, it will zero out the bank. Well, I didn't do very well there. So, yeah, I suspect I guess if you keep playing the game, you just lose the gamble like that. Sorry, I just moved my mouse down there and it reset the... See there, I just did... Yeah, that's what I did there. That's my fault. That wasn't the emulator. That was me just putting my mouse in a stupid place. So we'll come out of that one. So that one's potentially got some shenanigans on it. So there's something... We've got a £250 version of that as well. We've got Greece and we've got... Now, Greece is probably going to fucking upset... It might load properly, it might not. This one, there, it's gone really weird on my screen. And now I can't click on anything. This one doesn't play nicely. This works fine on... I'm going to have to escape out the whole shooting match there because that's gone all weird. That one there does not... See that, I'll have to load back in. I fucking hate Windows 11, the way it drags shit around like that. It's so annoying. This there, one other thing, and I will mention this at this point. This emulator worked absolutely flawlessly on my main PC upstairs. On the laptop that I'm using here, I've got spanned displays across an external monitor and the laptop screen. And this laptop also has 2 GPUs in it. It's got an integrated GPU and an RTX 2070 discrete GPU. Now, some combination of those GPUs and my multiple screens, this does not always play nice. I mean, I'll see if I can catch it on camera for you. I was doing a bit of judicious Bandicam stopping and starting before. What you might find is that this doesn't actually load. See there, it's gone weird on the screen now. Now, it wasn't doing it. I've been fucking around with Windows settings and I can't. Can you see there, the panel has disappeared. The only thing I can get around that is to actually X out of the emulator, which is not the preferred way of doing it because what you want to do is to gracefully come out. You want to do that up there, which is file exit. What I can do is what I'll do now, what you'll see me doing here, if I drag this off, so you can't see this because my Bandicam window isn't there. What it'll do is it will load on my other screen. And then when I drag it back in, it'll be working. You can see there, and now it's working fine. I'm still working out the best way to get it to behave reliably on my setup here. The reports from Desert Island Fruits at the moment, if people are having issues, it tends to be with integrated GPUs. Do remember we're on the version 1.0 release here. And there we've just got that little crashy thing there. So we've had a look at the games there. That's fine. We didn't really get a look at Greece, but that one, I can't get that one to behave today. It's been a pain in the arse. So we'll go with that for actually looking at the games, and now we'll go into the sort of information behind this. So there is the release thread over at Desert Island Fruits. You can see it was released on Wednesday of this week, as I'm recording this on the 11th of April, Saturday the 11th of April. So the Wednesday just gone, this was released. There's a good thread there. There's a little bit of talk about the journey that they've been on. I mean, I would be happy to read like far more waffle than that, to be honest, because I would be super interested to hear some of the technical journey that these folks have been on to get this thing running at all. But they are sort of saying there, this has taken a lot of work to get us to this stage. So huge appreciation for the emulator authors on this one, because it cannot be overstated how much fucking effort it is. I heard stories from very close to Wizard, to Chris Wren, people who were in a spot to know, not from him directly from him to me, but from people very close to him who said that guy put in thousands and thousands of hours on MVFME over the years. To get an emulator working, this is a serious serious undertaking. We really need to be clear on that to get something like this running on your computer, this is no easy job. So huge amounts of respect to the emulator authors here. So what you've got now is the thread there is going well over at Desert Island Fruits. It's up to 6 pages at the moment and people are still posting to it. So you've got the thread detailing the release over at Desert Island Fruits. The place to download the emulator is from this website here, which can you see up at the top? It's as simple as that. It's MVFME.com. There's no restrictions, there's no sign-ups or donations or anything like that. It's just go to the website, download the emulator. There are instructions supplied with the download. There's also instructions here. It's really not that difficult, but there are a couple of dependencies. There's a couple of runtime installers that need to be on your PC before the emulator will work. The other real gotcha here is do not do it from any drive that is synced to the cloud. Like, use a local drive in your PC. Create a new folder just somewhere on the C drive or the D drive if you've got a second drive in there. Don't use a network drive. Don't use anything that's writing out to cloud storage. OneDrive is the obvious one, and what you might think are local drives are not necessarily local drives. If you've got OneDrive on your PC, desktop is a OneDrive synced drive. That counts as a cloud drive. Don't use your Windows desktop, for example, if you've got OneDrive on your PC. Create a folder somewhere on an actual local drive on your computer, on your laptop, run it from there. If you follow those instructions, it really should just work. The thing that you're going to need, by the way, are these things here, the B packs. These are the ROMs, effectively. These are the files, the sort of hard drive or SSD image files that the original cabinet will have run off. Now, the emulator is not supplied with those. There's a very, very clear separation here between church and state, as it were. The emulator in and of itself, that's fine. There's nothing illegal about emulation. So the emulator is kept completely clear from the game files, which ultimately are kind of copyrighted ROM files, in the same way that, remember, right back in the day, Barcrest came knocking on Wizard's door when he was selling the emulator with ROMs and said, get our fucking ROMs and our copyrighted artwork out of your emulator. Once he'd done that, the emulator was fine, and there was always a 100% clear sort of instruction from Chris: never bundle my emulator with any ROMs or other copyrighted material. The same thing is going on here. So the emulator, that's a download that you can just get, no problem, that's fine, but you are going to need to get hold of these B packs as well. On that, I will say that they are out there and they are available. Best thing you can probably do there is sign up over at Desert Island Fruits. And once you combine those two things together and follow the instructions there, you will then have this running on your PC as I have here. And as I say, this is just the starter for 10, but all of the B packs are already kind of archived out. There are multiple people on the Fruit Machine emulation scene who have owned T7 cabinets and all kinds of other cabinets over the years. This is where emulation really comes in on this, because one of the things about owning these cabs is that they're getting on a bit now, and they're reliable to a point, but when things get, the oldest ones of these now are knocking on the door of being 20 years old. They don't last forever. We've seen comments over the years at Desert Island Fruits and threads being started from people who own a T7 or another digital cab and something bloody goes wrong with it. The graphics cards in them are known to fail. Sometimes the MPU modules in them fail. Any other element of what's in there, the storage might fail. You've got a lot of stuff in there which, when it's out on site as well, remember, these things could be turned on for what? If they're in a pub, 12 hours a day. if they're in an arcade, what, 24 hours a day these things could be turned on for years and years and years. So even though they might be, reasonably well built and fairly reliable, at some point they're going to break. Something's going to go wrong with them. You see on Jackpotty on Facebook as well, if I'd had £1 for every post I've seen from someone, like, oh, I turned my cab on today, because people, players love getting hold of these cabs and having them in the houses. I've thought about getting one for myself, but the reason I've kept away from it is because I know that they have a habit of fucking breaking. And like I say on Facebook, you'll see a post from someone in Jackpotty, I turned my cab on today, and there'll just be a picture of it displaying some horrible MPU controller failure, or encryption module failure, or note changer failure, or comms fail, whatever it may be. Instead of seeing that there, you just get a horrible fucking error message. And then you're into the nightmare scenario of trying to fix the things, get parts for it. One of the folks over at Desert Island Fruits was saying that there is a sort of second-hand market, hacky type market, in trying to find replacement hardware and bits that will work in these things that weren't the originals, because they're not necessarily available anymore. So there is a world where you could say, well, if you like them that much, can't you just buy a real cab? Well, you've got to be able to you've got to have the money to buy the thing. And while these can be had, I think they're getting down to around the, I don't know, £700, £800, £900 mark, maybe £1,000. So even if you can buy the bloody thing and you've got somewhere to put it, you're inevitably staring down the barrel of the fact it's going to break at some point, and you're limited by the games that you can have on it. So emulation here, what emulation achieves is it gives everyone the chance to play these games, and just as importantly for me is it preserves them. The big thing that emulation does is it preserves these going forward, because as we've seen with physical fruit machines themselves, the manufacturers, the people who built these things, who coded them, whoever, everyone who was involved in making physical fruit machines, ultimately they either don't exist anymore in the companies that made them, or they just don't care. Even though they technically perhaps own the intellectual property or whatever, they just don't give a shit. These were always just about making money, and once the commercial value in them has gone, they don't care. They don't care about preserving them. They don't care about making them available to people who may have fond memories of them and may wish to play them going forward. They are essentially just abandoned by the people who made them. And without emulation, where would you play fruit machines? Now, yes, we do have a number of retro arcades around the UK, which is great, but that only works for you if you can get to them, and you are limited by the games that they have available as well. Whereas with fruit machine emulation, which has now been part of our lives for 25 years, we kind of have the ability to play pretty much any fruit machine that was made from the 1980s onward. Yes, there are some exceptions, and there are a couple of techs in there that aren't emulated and probably won't be going forward. But in terms of like the coverage, MVFME, that fruit machine emulator, kind of covers the vast majority of fruit machine history for decades. And if you want to play a game that you have memories of, that you want to be able to experience in the here and now, fruit machine emulation is there for you. And now, hopefully going forward, MVFME, multiple video fruit machine emulator, will give us that in the digital space going forward, because these cabs are getting old now. I've never seen one of the bloody things over here anyway, but I'm sure they're disappearing now. There's probably a few still around on site, but these are increasingly becoming just legacy tech now. My understanding is that the last B-packs were released for these somewhere around 2016. So they had like an 8-year run, maybe something like that, 2016, 2017. So they are legacy tech now. And there's going to be no other way of playing the games that were on these cabs going forward. You either have to buy the thing yourself with all the cost and faff and the thing breaking at some point that comes with, and you're limited by the games that are on there. Apparently you have to be licensed for the games that are on them and all that kind of twaddle. You have to go down that route, which is simply not available or not even remotely feasible for a lot of people, or we have emulation. And that preserves it for the present and the future. Because what we've seen, and this is becoming a problem in the world of video games at the moment, where it's increasingly common now where video games just kind of get turned off on the back end. Ubisoft have currently got a class action lawsuit against them for a game called The Crew, which, even though it's a racing game which you can play just single player locally on your gaming machine of choice, they have now turned off the back end servers for that. Even if you bought that game and it's in your collection, you can no longer play it, because when you fire up that game, it tries to talk to the Ubisoft servers, and because the Ubisoft servers are no longer there and answering, the game just says, I can't run. You can't play me. And what people are saying, and this is the class action lawsuit, is hang on a minute, I bought the fucking game. You can't just, if you want to turn off the multiplayer components or online achievements, then fine. But at least let me just load up the game and fucking drive around in the driving game that I bought off you. And Ubisoft is saying, well, no, actually, you didn't buy the game. You bought a license to play the game, and that license lasts for as long as we want to keep the servers running. We don't want to keep the servers running. We've turned them off. Your game doesn't work anymore. And it's not just Ubisoft. This is, in a digital world, what we have seen now time and time and time again is that the companies, the corporations that made these things, whatever they may be, fruit machine, digital fruit machines, video games, software applications, phones, operating systems, whatever it may be, at some point they just bring the fucking axe down and say, we no longer support that. The best case scenario is that the thing that you've got will just at least carry on working. But in the worst case scenario, like with The Crew, it actively kills the thing that you already have in your possession that just stops working. It's also a problem with older games consoles. Now, Nintendo have famously turned off multiple online stores. The 3DS went recently. The Wii U got turned off a couple of years ago. You know, Sony are dropping, so the PS3 is gone. The PS4 is still supported, but you know that at some point, all of this stuff is going to get turned off. I pay for the Nintendo Online subscription for my Switch 2. That has some retro games in it, but only the selection that Nintendo choose to make available, which is a very small selection, and only for as long as you continue to pay the online component of that. And in some cases, these are even for games or consoles that I actually own. But if the old physical console is broken, so even though I have the console and the game, and I'm paying Nintendo to play it on my Switch 2 as a retro game, Nintendo can just take that off me whenever they want. Emulation gets around all of this. It's not about trying to nick stuff, trying to get a free ride, or trying to cheat the system, as it were. When the system fails us, when the system makes it very clear, you don't own fucking anything. Doesn't matter how much money you've given us or what you think you've bought. If we want to turn the fucking thing off, we'll just turn the fucking thing off. Well, emulation is the people's way of saying, well, actually, that's not good enough, because some of this stuff is important to us and we want to be able to keep it alive, have it available to experience in the here and now, and keep the memories alive of the things that are being emulated. In this case, old physical fruit machines, and now in the realm of digital fruit machines. So frankly, I think this stuff is important. I think it's worth doing. One of the things that I've said many times in my videos, but were it not for fruit machine emulation, were it not for MVFME, a lot of this stuff would be gone. It would have disappeared. Yes, there are retro arcades and they have a reasonable spread of machines, but not everything by any stretch of the imagination, and not everything that's emulated. Were it not for fruit machine emulation, there's a lot of fruit machines that would be gone forever, and the industry doesn't give a single solitary shit about it. So this stuff matters. So I am super, super happy that this exists. Do be aware of these caveats. This is the README file for the emulator itself, and they're making it very clear here. This is version 1.0 and it is very much a work in progress. There will be bugs, there will be things that don't quite work right. Some games will misbehave in ways we haven't seen yet. That's exactly why we need you. Your feedback is what turns this from a project into something the community can actually enjoy. And there, please test everything, break things, tell us what's wrong and what you'd like to see. Every bit of feedback helps us make this better. I'm going to be feeding back in that thread over at Desert Island Fruits. You saw that weirdness there that I had with the displays. I've seen a couple of posts from people who are saying that they've got a black screen when they load it. And I'm wondering if they're having the same issue that I have, but when I drag it across my screens, and sometimes just doing that, maximizing out, and then closing it again, it'll start rendering the graphics. So as long as you're prepared to understand that bit there, that this is the initial release, and you saw a few of the little gremlins there, but fundamentally, you've got a fully playable emulator here. It only misbehaves on my setup here. Like I said, on my main PC upstairs, it's absolutely fine. It doesn't miss a beat on that one. So there's going to be some stuff that gets ironed out going forwards, and I'm really hoping that we will see as we get to V1.1, 1.2 and so on. We're going to get sort of bug fixes and quality of life changes within the emulator itself, and of course we're going to get more games added. That is absolutely on the roadmap going forward, is to get more games in there. What the emulator authors wanted to do is for the initial launch, rather than have a larger number of games that had various kind of glitches and misbehaviors in them, they wanted to give us a smaller selection of games that actually worked properly. And apart from those quirky things that you saw there, which were more on the display side, that little crash coming out or whatever, once you're in the game and it's running, they all seem to behave themselves perfectly to me. I'll just give this a little mention as well. I can't really tell you much more about it because I haven't participated yet, but one thing that has been implemented here, and I do want to have a go with this, but I don't have the sort of knowledge to put it into this video, is this online tournaments. Now, this has got like proper online integration going on. So what you can do is take part in the tournament whereby you get 100 quid on Monopoly Big Event. You can see there, so you've got a money and a time limit. You've got to go in on that game, and then you can join an online leaderboard to get the best score in terms of your highest balance. And this is all being done through the emulator and then aggregating the results to an actual back-end server. I believe they put some proper encryption on the emulator component and the comms on that to make sure that you can't cheat. So that's a nice little idea there, because you're not just playing against yourself there. You can actually play on a leaderboard with other people to see where you can get to. Like I say, I haven't played around with it myself yet. I mean, God, Wolf 676 is really going for it there, isn't he? With 45 entries. So looks like you can have as many goes as you want as well. So if that sounds like it might be fun, you've got that going on as well. So there we are. A lot to look forward to. And fundamentally here, the real TLDR for this is you now no longer need to have a real T7 cabinet to play these games. And going forward, we're going to have lots more to have a look at. Essentially, anything that ever existed on any of these T7 cabs is already in the stash. It's already in the BPAC archive. It just needs them to be added with full support to MVFME to be playable. So Fields of Gold, Rainbow Riches Field of Gold, is not currently in there, but hopefully going forward that is one of the ones that we will be able to play. I'm super happy about this. I have genuinely thought about getting myself a digital cab for the house. I even got as far as getting some inquiries in with a local supplier about buying a blueprint cab to have in the house, but it never went through to completion. And I was kind of thinking Mrs. Deggs is not going to be thrilled if one of these fucking things appears in the house anyway. But I have kind of wanted one. And the other thing as well that I think really sealed the deal for me was the knowledge was that at some point, one of these days, I'd turn the bloody thing on and it wouldn't be working. And then I'm into the whole bloody pain in the arse of trying to get the things fixed and fucking around inside of it. Emulation, of course, makes all of that stuff go away as well. So this is super exciting. I did not think, really, if you'd have asked me a month ago, will we ever see a whole new Fruit Machine emulator release? My answer to that would have been no, probably not. I don't think we will. And yet here we are now with MVFME available for everyone to download and enjoy. So if this sounds like something that you would like yourself, remember, emulator's available there. You'll have to find your own way a little bit on the B-Packs, but the knowledge is there over at Desert Island Fruits, and you can have this collection of games available to play on your PC. And as I said before, this is great, and this is the worst it will ever be. It's only going to get better from here, so there's a lot to look forward to. What we have here, though, you can have a decent little session on one of these games. The Ruby Slippers is the one that I've probably played the most. I was kicking that one around for quite a bit the other night, and that way it didn't misbehave itself once. I haven't had any issues with any of the games, honestly, once they've actually been loaded in and running. So hopefully you will have the same experience as well. However, we've got a very active thread over at Desert Island Fruits where people are feeding in with their experience, any little issues that they're having. I'm going to get in there with my feedback and my experience here. So hopefully that will help people who are having the black screen issues on iGPUs, all that sort of thing. So there's a lot to build on here, and it's a very exciting time for Fruit Machine emulation. I will wrap that one up there, though, because if you're still with me, then well done, because I'd be surprised if you weren't off trying to play this already. Have fun, enjoy it. Come and join us over at Desert Island Fruits if you want to have a chat about it. And you too can now do hyper-style pie gambles without having to worry about losing £300 in 24 minutes like I did. And that was without even trying the bloody gambles. Thank you very much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch up with you next time. But for now it is. Goodbye.